The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What time is it?
I knew you'd come.
Delete! 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 Delete!
Bring Freddy Krueger's world, Elm Street. We want to see Bray Wyatt's version of the Boiler Room.
My name is Dario Cueto. My relationship with the wrestlers is very special.
And he's hanging out with Masquerita Sagrada in what looks like his basement. And then his mom shows up with bagel bites. It's glorious.
Oh, that's awesome.
We are scientifically proven to be the best tag team, and not just in NXT, not just in the WWE, but in the entire universe.
At the end of that tournament, everybody knew the name Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. How did Triple H say it? Make a name for yourself.
Making a name for yourselves all well and good. And in Blackpool, you did an incredible job. But at NXT, that's not going to fly.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the max.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Vieser.
Welcome, everybody, to Wrestling to the Max, episode 234, part 2. And we are here and excited about talking about some great content. We have some big quick hits for you guys. That's right. We have some more TNA information about what's going on with the relations with other places. Plus, Ring of Honor actually has another deal in place looking like. And then some other great wrestling news. Plus, sadly, a death in the wrestling world we'll be jumping into. We're going to be talking about also some New Japan. That's right. We have another, I think, New Beginnings show to talk about. Plus, we're also going to get into Impact Wrestling. And boy, trust me, we want to talk about this doozy, as well as we are going to crown a Superstar of the Week. So you don't want to miss a minute of this show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, I'm your host, Gary Vaughn. And with me is Mr. Sean Garmer.
What's up, everybody?
And Mr. Paul Leeser.
Heyo.
And, we've had, a really great week. We have a lot of great stuff content-wise. Of course, we did our normal stuff, episode 1 on Monday. But Sean did not get to be a part of part 1 of this show. And so, there's one special thing that I really wanted to get into. And with him not being able to be a part of the show, I wanted to mention this right off the bat and kind of get Sean's perspective. And I think it's kind of cool to hear all of our take on it. So me and Paul already did ours on Monday, but Teddy Long getting into the Hall of Fame is something I wanted to hear Sean's perspective on, because I know he probably has some things he'd really like to say about it. So Sean, how did you feel about that induction, or that he's going to be inducted actually?
Well, I just want to see a tag team match happen. That's all I care about. One for the road there, Teddy. But no, I think a lot of people that are saying, crappy things about this are just, they're only looking at his general manager run and not seeing that, he managed tag teams that were successful. Maybe not, big time, oh my God, you're thinking about it for years and years kind of things, but it was important. He was a referee. I look at it kind of like when baseball inducts, a journalist, or when, a football, the thing with, NFL inducting Jerry Jones. He didn't play in the NFL, but he sure did a heck of a lot of other things in the NFL to deserve to be in. This is kind of one of those company man kind of things. You get in for being a company man, for being there for a long time, I don't have a problem with that. There's worse, worse people and worse additions they could have in there. I mean, so I don't really have an issue with him getting inducted at all. I thought he deserves it for everything he's done already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Paul gave us a whole list of different, things he's done. Of course, refereeing. He also talked about all the guys he's managed. I mean, I was educated a little bit there because I had not realized how many people that this guy has had contact with, how many people he's managed, and some of the, the roles he's played in wrestling. So this guy goes back a ways, and it's not just about tag team play, which it's great. That's a big part of, his history. But there is much more to that. So I encourage everyone to go check out Teddy Long and to see why he's getting this honor. And it's exciting. I really feel like, it's a big deal. So
I mean, and what we got into on one of the previous shows too, again, like the whole, when did we ever have a African American authority figure?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something too. And for him to be the longest authority figure ever on SmackDown, and nobody ever thought a second, like, how many times we'd be calling for somebody's head by now about how much he sucks and he's been there too long and no one cares. Like, nobody even gave a second thought to the fact Teddy Long had been there for how long on SmackDown.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's super special. And, it's kind of interesting, too, that they chose, February to be the month too, because it is Black History Month, and so maybe they did it, maybe they didn't do it for that reason. But any way you look at it, he deserves it. I don't care. What month
he would have been announced at one point or another.
Yeah,
in the lead up. So
I just thought maybe they may have used this as a great way to kind of add that into Black History. Maybe I don't know. I
mean, they could. They could. It doesn't put nothing past WWE at this point, but
Mm-hmm. So this is just good news. It really is, and I'm happy for Teddy Long. So I just wanted to ask you that real quick, quick question, because we didn't get a chance to speak on that all together. So I'm glad we got your perspective on it. But yeah, guys, I mean, we have a lot to get into tonight, so I don't think we need to dilly-dally around here. We'll be right back pretty soon here with some quick hits, and don't forget, we still have 2 great show reviews to talk about, but we got something to jump into that you're not going to want to miss, and that's quick hits right after this.
Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to do dang it. No, when I'm trying to... Oh, man, it did this stupid thing where it deleted stuff again.
So we don't have quick hits music tonight.
You gotta be kidding me. Like, why does it do this? That's dumb. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think Spreaker owes us some money for them screwing
Seriously,
up our
they do. They need to start giving us some money. Like, that's dumb.
That's okay. Well, you know what? Well, we can go into this cold. It's not a big deal. It's a little funny to have a little failure here and there. But let's start off by talking about the saddest thing and the elephant in the room, and that is Nicole Bass passing away at the age of 52 of a heart attack. And, this is something that, we never like to see at all. And, it's also something where, we've kind of come to be understanding of it, though, in the wrestling world, because so many times we see these people pass away at such early ages. And, the 52 now is not that old. I mean, we still have people, wrestling in the ring sometimes at 52 years old. But what do you think about this whole thing and Nicole Bass passing away?
I mean, obviously, it's sad. She's only 52. She died of a heart attack. I mean, it's all very, very sad there. But she had a very brief run in wrestling, maybe 2 years. Maybe most famous for her run in ECW, palling around with Justin Credible and the like, and Jason and all those guys. But she was in the WWE briefly, too. She was Sable's bodyguard at WrestleMania 15. She also had a pair up with Ivory in a small feud with Deborah at the time. So, I mean, she's been in the main spotlight before, and just sad to hear. Absolutely. Condolences to her family. I'm getting real sick of talking about people dying, too, by the way. 2017 was supposed to be better.
Yeah. Oof, it's been such a rough 2017.
Yeah, we're just 2 months in, you know. I mean, obviously, I remember Nicole Bass when I think that one thing in WWE, and that's about it, you know. So as far as wrestling is concerned, it's a very like small, tangible thing that we're really talking about her here. But you know, she was a part of the wrestling world for a small time, and that counts. And it's sad, and it's sad when anybody dies. Let's be honest here, okay? People die all the time. It's just it just really sucks that I just want to make that point because you know a lot of people made the big deal about all the celebrities that died last year and that have already died this year, you know, and I think we shouldn't always lose that bigger picture of this. This is a sad thing all the time, and it's becoming too common for this kind of stuff, and especially you know being young at freaking 52. That's that's always sad to hear, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, especially with somebody, you know, I don't have no idea how she lived her life and did things, but, you know, someone who was into physical fitness and a good portion of her life and all that coming into play kind of makes you wonder, you know, how much, you know, has she had health problems coming up until this point? And, you know, I don't know. I've not followed her closely or anything like that, but it just seems way, way too early, you know. So condolences to her family and friends. I mean, this is not an easy time, I know. So let's talk about something much more happier and something that I really want to know what you guys think about. And that is the fact that we're hearing that, you know, barring a physical, WWE is interested in having Kurt Angle wrestle. Sean, I mean, what do you think about this? I really never thought WWE would be, you know, actually doing this, but they kind of feel like they can do it now. How do you feel?
Well, we talked about this, right? It would be the total shame for somebody like Kurt Angle when you have somebody like Goldberg out there. Yeah, he's only wrestling like 2 or 3 minute matches or whatever. But you have somebody like Goldberg out there getting paid a bunch of money to be on TV and not just be a legend that goes and gets his Hall of Fame and that's all you see. You know, he's probably going to win the championship at Fastlane, you know, unless somebody changes their mind. So how can you say with Kurt Angle still having, you know, pretty good matches on the indies, you know, on the indie scene and whatever, and I just can't see that he's not going to come back for at least one match. And if you're WWE, as long as he, you know, doesn't really hurt himself, I mean, and he passes your physical, I mean, why not? That's the big problem with Angle for the longest time was, we don't have to worry about it because he'll never pass a physical.
Yeah, I mean, if he feels confident he can do it, and they feel confident he can do it, then yeah, why not? He said reportedly that he wants to have another match with AJ, so I am totally down for that. I just think they're probably going to be they're going to be careful with who they put him in the ring with. You know, his neck is not in great shape, his body is not in great shape, as far as just the amount of injuries he's racked up, but he can still put on something worth talking about, and let's see what they do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see it happen. I just can't wait till you know. Hopefully, it does happen. It'll be really exciting. I think a lot of people are ready for that to happen. So, you know, we'll see. I mean, this is you know a process, and we just can't expect it to happen. You know, he's had a lot of his injuries, and there could be a possibility we don't get a chance to see him in the ring. But I really do hope it happens. Let's talk about something else that's a little bit surprising, and that's the fact that Kelly has made her return to WWE. Of course, you know, we talked a little bit about this on Monday. We talked about the fact that she kind of showed up, talked a little bit. But since that time, we find out that she signed a 3-year deal and that she's going to be heading over to the Performance Center and to get ready and to be a part of WWE. And not only that, we're also hearing maybe a little bit of hearsay that she may be also part of this whole Emelina gimmick thing going on. So I don't know, Paul. I mean, I was not expecting a lot on Monday. We kind of talked about this. I kind of said, I just don't see it. You know, she's been away for too long. She's not exactly the best. And then they come and do this.
There's even further rumors out there that Victoria might get re-signed, and they'll have Victoria and Kelly pair up with Mickey, and they'll do like an old generation versus new generation thing from SmackDown. But whatever. Kelly resigning. I mean, she kind of has to go to the Performance Center at this point. She was fine in the time period of what women's wrestling was in WWE. I don't think there's a lot of ways she could keep up with them now. So they'll send her down there. If she is getting the Emelina gimmick, seeing as Emma, they dropped it from Emma because they weren't happy with what they saw as far as what she was doing with it and everything like that. So they're going to go back on that on her, and then, yeah, like I said, there's talk of her getting that gimmick. And you know, if it stand around and be pretty and heal it up, then maybe it's something they can do. But I'm hesitant, yet a little excited, because I did enjoy Kelly's Divas title run for the hot minute that it was.
Good Lord, what did Eva Marie do to piss somebody off?
Great question.
Like, I mean, that was her gimmick. Like, it's just, it was what was selling her, and they had the great entrance for her and everything, and then she must have pissed somebody off after the coming back from the. Maybe she just realized she didn't want to wrestle anymore, and they said, "Well, if you're not going to do that, then we don't have use for you."
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I think people give Kelly too much crap. I saw something on. I really don't even want to give this guy much credit, but I saw something on Twitter with this guy saying that if he ever found out that his kid was a Kelly fan, it would almost want to make him shoot the kid. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, you got to be kidding me. You're that. It's that terrible. She was not that bad. Yeah, Maria Menounos out-wrestled her at the WrestleMania we were at, Paul. But, I mean, you know, she was never, like, anything outstanding. But for what they had in that era, she was sort of the best of the bunch. She was the one that got over, you know, and you can't really fault her for that. I mean, so, just... You know, you're giving her too much crap. WWE's doing the best they can right now. I think that they realize that they can't gut NXT of everybody because then NXT has nobody. You're going to bring back established talent, and it's not talent that is like, oh my God, it's like they're taking away spots from other people. It's, well, if they're comfortable with doing what Mickie James is doing, where, okay, well, you might trade some wins here. You might get a women's title opportunity. You might get a women's title win if you're Mickie James. Maybe you don't. But it fills spots on that roster, and that's what they need right now when you got two split rosters. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many people are going to really remember Kelly at all, but it's something, you know. And Victoria's, if anything, Victoria will be a great help in NXT as far as, you know, agent and just maybe being there as a veteran if they feel like, you know, things on Raw or SmackDown don't work out for her. So I don't think this is a bad thing at all for either one. And, you know, it helps WWE be able to keep, for one, they still got to do that tournament. And secondly, it helps them keep some of the women down there longer to help NXT get their division back where it used to be.
Yeah, and to give Kelly the credit that she deserves, I mean, for somebody who had absolutely zero background to come as far as she did, she's one of those who I think really picked up, sort of like Layla did, who really picked up a fast-paced style. I mean, yeah, it wasn't marvelous or anything, but they brought something different to the table that, like, the girls at the time, like the Bellas or Melina or Beth Phoenix or those cats, you know, she was different. And that, I mean, if she's willing to go back and sort of relearn and try to train up and get to even a level where she's as presentable as the rest of the girls on the roster now, then good on her, you know?
Yeah, certainly. And we'll see where this actually goes, and if this all comes to fruition or not. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're doing the smart thing too. They're understanding that she is not Mickie James. She spent a lot of time, and honestly, like, did you guys really expect that she was gonna be? She tried with that reality show. It didn't work out. Like, you know, we all can't, not everybody's gonna be Stacy Keibler and be smart and find out who to marry. So, you know, same thing with Tori Wilson. So, you know, you're going to have women like that come back because they can't get jobs in real Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Just
to be fair,
facts.
Stacy Keibler was on the 100th episode of How I Met Your Mother, so props to her for that.
She was. Yeah, I got to give her credit for that, definitely. But, I mean, unless you want to be Candice Michelle and just, hey, I'm happy in the married life and whatever, then, you know, you only got a certain amount of options.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, things work out the way they do, and, you know, hey, if she wants to be back and part of the WWE, that's, you know, her prerogative, you know, even if it is for maybe more of the, hey, I want to be back in the spotlight more than I want to get back in the ring, you know, it's still...
Yeah, I
you know,
wonder if she really sticks around for that 3-year deal, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's me too. But, you know, I don't know. We may be selling her really short. Who knows? But I hope that her coming back means that there's other people, because, I mean, if Victoria is coming back, I'm game. Let's do this tomorrow.
I wonder if they would even
if that's
dream about bringing back Melina at all.
I don't know. I mean, she's back to wrestling again. Melina does wrestle on indies now, so, I mean, she sort of stepped away from the game for a while, and now she's back at it, so it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get Jessica Havoc in there before you get Melina. But anyway.
That's probably not going to happen.
I know. Stupid messages. But let's...
Well, I
let's
mean,
switch
you know,
over.
Melina's not helping herself with the Cialis and all that stuff, so...
Yeah, I know, right? But let's change topics here. Let's move on to talk some TNA really quick here. You know, we just talked about last week about that special new partnership that they have with Noah, and they'll be having a show over in Yokohama, however you say that. That show will be on March 12th, and they are going to bring over their first TNA talent over to Noah, and that'll be, of course, Eddie Edwards, Moose, and James Storm. And these are 3 names that are, you know,
James Storm.
I know.
Yeah,
so
let me tell you how excited I am about that.
So there you go. I mean, I don't think these are terrible names. I know Paul hates James Storm, but I don't think these are terrible names.
Yeah, I mean, Moose and Eddie Edwards were pretty much already tipped to be the first 2. James Storm is the mysterious third person here who they're bringing over, and I can't say I'm totally thrilled about that, but I think, I mean, there's still bigger names to bring. Lashley, if he ever goes over, is going to be awesome. And, I mean, I really hope Eddie Kingston gets a chance to go over there, too.
Yeah, Eddie Edwards already has plenty of history there with Noah, so that makes sense. And Moose has the, you know, time from when he was in New Japan with the Moose gimmick, so, you know. That it's gonna work. Hopefully, you know, the difference in crowds between Noah and New Japan is rather stark. So we'll see what happens. And you know, it's good for TNA that they're branching out and understanding. This is obviously a Jeff Jarrett maneuver of, hey, let's just partner with people and see what happens. I mean, the worst that can happen is that nothing happens out of it. So, I mean, yeah.
I mean, it looks like, you know, Jeff Jarrett's even heading over to the UK. They're talking to ITV right now about maybe getting a deal together with World of Sport for TNA. So, I mean, you're on that direction right there, Sean. And I think that's a really good deal as well, because we see WWE jumping into the UK thing. We've seen other people trying to, you know, get in with this whole, you know, UK, you know, hotbed of wrestling. You know, right now it's really hot.
Oh, that means Grado's going to come back again.
TNA does have a large history in England too, so this makes sense, especially if they can try to get back on TV over there. That was one of their hotter places to go. So,
Yeah, and they need to make TNA important back over there again, because some of these later shows that TNA went over there and didn't exactly seem as exciting as they used to seem. So this would be a good deal if they can get in with the world of sport. Ring of Honor has actually got their own deal going on with Stardom, and they're actually going to be hosting a tryout camp together as a joint promotional thing. It looks like Ring of Honor is getting in on the game too.
If this leads to more, this could be a really big deal, because I don't know if enough people cared when Io and Kairi and I'm blanking on her name too, Iwatani, showed up on Lucha Underground. I don't know if they'll care in Ring of Honor either, because I don't know how the crossover between actual Ring of Honor fans and the Women of Honor set goes. But this could be a really big deal. I mean, we're talking about terrific wrestlers, and we've seen a little bit of this too. Deonna Purrazzo is currently over there with Stardom right now too, who's a big thing for Ring of Honor. So lots of stuff happening. I'm excited for this. If this goes full forward and we get Io and Kairi and them over here at some point, then we could be in for some terrific stuff.
I think it's cool from them being able to be over here more than the one tour Stardom does a year in the U.S. and it's like always California. So it's cool from that perspective of, maybe they might just show up in a random town and you'll get to go see them or something like that. But this is good for Ring of Honor as far as raising the profile of the Women of Honor thing. I don't know how much it really gets any attention. Not to mention, how much attention does Ring of Honor really get? Because we don't really know, because all their stuff's syndicated and they don't really release those numbers, and the people that could release those numbers are kind of in bed with ROH, so you don't really get to find out anything. It's kind of one of those, again, like TNA. You hope it works out, but there's a chance that it just means absolutely nothing. And, not everything is, like, every time somebody makes a deal with Flow Slam, does it mean that people are really watching that now? No, it's just a promotion that got added. So, that's the thing. I don't want to, like what Paul said, you don't want to overhype something, and then in a couple of months, nobody's talking about it. So it is what it is. Let's see if it becomes anything before we just go crazy about it.
Yeah, I agree. And, just going to have to see how it all works out in the end. Let's talk about one last thing. Let's talk about New Japan. The fact that they're going to have Dragon Lee over there, and he's going to be doing a lot more with them this year. So that's a positive thing. And we're also getting the return of El Desperado. Apparently his knee is not as injured as once thought. So there you go.
Good news for Desperado, who seems to always chronically get injured, it seems like. But if it's minor, he's already back on the schedule, which is all good stuff for him. I'm all for Dragon Lee, more in New Japan too. That match in Osaka, which we're going to talk about later, was amazing, and I'm sure this means we'll see him for Best of the Super Juniors and more like that. But more Dragon Lee is a good thing for me.
Yeah, more Dragon Lee is great. You can always have another junior to have in that division whenever if this is really, he's not going to have any more interactions with Hiromu or not, but you need, he brings just a fresh face, and he's so great. It only helps that division out, and only helps out New Japan to have him there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that'll wrap up our quick hits tonight. Of course, we'll be having some more great news for you guys next week. But now we are going to head on over and actually talk about New Japan. That's right. They had a big show this past week, and we want you guys to hear all about it. So Paul and Sean are going to jump into that next. Let's go ahead and do it, guys.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Alright, I had the thing in front of me. I don't know where it went now. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the undercard stuff because it really felt like it was undercard stuff. I was just kind of pressed for time when I watched the Big Five, the title matches or whatever. Was there anything really remarkable about before you get to the 6-man title match?
Yes and no. I think it depends on what you're into. I enjoyed the Taka and Hanare match simply because Hanare is clearly a heavyweight, Taka is a junior heavyweight, and so it was more about Taka having to be inventive to try to beat him, and the finish is actually kind of cool about how he just sort of packages him up and almost pretzels him into a pinfall to beat him, which is cool. Tenkoji goes over Kushida and Yoshitatsu, which is what it was and what it was always going to be. So nothing too special there. I enjoyed the 8-man with Nagata, Mask, Liger, and Juice taking on Chaos. Juice got the pinfall again, and he still looks to be posturing to challenge for Goto in the Never title again. So that isn't over. And the Suzuki Gun beating Chaos, I would kind of recommend watching that one just because the interactions are interesting between at least Suzuki and Okada, of course, because Suzuki was very eager to pick up where he left off and continuing to murder Okada's leg, and has the added benefit of tossing him around. And then, of course, Suzuki Gun does a big beat down, too, and all the good stuff that they're known for. So despite the setback at Sapporo, they look strong here.
I also didn't think the tag title match was really, anything to rave over about either because of the fact that you got Iizuka in there instead of our boy Mr. Lance Archer, and he's got a herniated disc in his back and he had to have surgery, so he's going to be out a while, sadly.
He has had the surgery and was successful, so that's all good news there too.
That is good news. But of course, Ishii and Yano retain as we figured would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes on. I wonder how long this is going to go on now for them. I'm sure KES is probably going to get them at this show.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Anyway.
Yeah, it was confirmed that KES was apparently in line for a run with the belt. So you have to figure they were going to win them here. But I'm okay with keeping them on Chaos for now. They need to start developing some other tag teams, I think. Just because I think you're showed off how thin the division is without, random pairings, of course. So, and they totally have the option to do that going forward. But I thought this was what it was. It was what it was going to be. I thought Davey Boy looked great. So, I mean, if he gets a little bit of a singles push out of this, I'd be okay. Him and Goto could probably have a fantastic match for that Never title if they want to go that way.
Yeah, certainly. It just kind of depends on what they want to do here. But let's get into the big. Well, I mean, one of the matches isn't that big, but I thought it was really fun, and you got kind of what you would expect with the 3 older gentlemen against your 3 the LIJ folks. You got some interference, which eventually led to or not interference, but the running interference with the referee, which eventually led to the win with Nakanishi getting misted, and then he taps out to Skull's End after he Taguchi was able to keep the pinfall from happening the first time. This was I thought it was a lot of fun. You had all the ass attacks between everybody, and the triple submission spot, which was cool, but the referee was out, and LIJ looked good here. They gel very well as a tag team. Just it's still weird to see Tanahashi in this spot, but he worked well, and I really felt like each guy brought their, at least from the face side, they all kind of brought something, and like they worked hard, and
I thought this was a fun match too. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Taguchi, Nakanishi, and Tanahashi's entrance, where they all sort of ripped off one of the LIJ members that they were facing. So Taguchi continued his evil cosplay. Tanahashi had the evil under marks where it looked like he hadn't slept in 30 years, and Nakanishi had the nice skull mask to mock Sonata. So
And
that
they all
was
wore the
fun.
sunglasses again.
Right, because Taguchi and promos had apparently started referring to them as equivalent of a soccer team. So their team name was Taguchi Japan.
Yeah, that's why he kept saying that. I was like, why are they constantly calling them Taguchi Japan? This is great.
He's a weird guy, that Taguchi.
Yes.
And this won't be the last time we talk about him on this episode either.
No, we won't.
But I loved the match. I thought Sonata looked great in this, and I think that's really what they wanted to take away. Sonata looked damn near deadly in the finishing stretch, and Nakanishi getting the rare opportunity too to hit the Hercules cutter, which is always cool. So, I mean, props to LIJ for getting those belts back. Hopefully, I would like to see them get the 2 defenses. That seems to be par for the course moving forward. It may be more, but they like to move these around like hotcakes. So, whatever. These are always fun matches at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with LIJ having them, you're going to have some more fun matches. So let's see what team that they put against them next. If they're going to have the rematch or not, because that's not always a guarantee either. So moving on to the Revolution Pro-British Heavyweight title match. Katsuri Shibata defends successfully against Will Ospreay here. I think what you're trying to get over in this is that Ospreay is much more vicious. He tries to match Shibata in being aggressive. And, well, you're basically playing into Shibata's wheelhouse at this point if you're trying to do that, because you ain't going to out-macho aggressive Katsuri Shibata. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Will Ospreay, he does the great part where he just totally attacks Shibata to the outside. He does the 2 dives in a row. They're trying to do his dropkick in the corner, which pisses Shibata off, and then he just cleans his clock with that dropkick in the corner. I mean, normally he will miss a little bit. This time he made sure he hit him right in the face. With the drop kick, which was great. Ospreay getting us those kicks in and the twirling kick and everything, but Shibata's able to hit that sleeper in the PK and win. But man, this was freaking great.
This was really, really good, and the whole point of this match, as Sean said, was to display Ospreay in a different light. And I don't think Osaka knew what to do with that. Because as flippy as he was in this, and don't get me wrong, he does his usual stuff, his greatest hits, as it were, the Sasuke special and the big dives and everything. But he works a lot of his aerial work into trying to evade Shibata early on, which I thought was cool and led to some really nice sequences that usually ended with him kicking him or something like that. And all the way up until Shibata finally got his hands on him, Ospreay was putting on a show, and then Shibata took over and just decided to murder the poor kid. But this was really, really good. And if you're used to seeing Ospreay in his usual flippy self, this is a great way to show you that he can do something different. I would recommend this for that. I don't think I was as high on this as a lot of people are, but this was still very, very good.
Yeah, I can see that too. You did have Okada and Geto out there on commentary. I think even for the tag title match, I'm not sure. But for this match, certainly. Of course, he had vested interest in other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on from here, we already kind of touched on the tag title match. So the 2 big matches with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match getting the semifinal spot on this show, which is great for them. This is a really cool spot to have your junior title match go in the semifinal there. So you get Hiromu defending against Dragon Lee, and my God, they tried to kill each other, and I don't know how it didn't happen. I mean, they were just absolutely just going for it, constant stuff to the outside, the big running power bomb to the outside, which Hiromu does and almost kills the other person. I don't know, he didn't even try to protect himself when he tries to do a big leg drop on Dragon Lee to the outside. He hits his own leg against the barricade.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much stuff in here, and eventually he kind of, I don't know, it looked like a weird version of the sort of the Destino or something. He hits Dragon Lee with it and he wins. But I mean, Lee hits everything. Hiromu kicks out of his like suplex into the powerbomb thing, and just Lord, you gotta watch this. I don't know that I can really describe a lot of what's happening. You just gotta watch this.
I will say that of all the matches I've seen Takahashi and Lee have, which I've seen a fair few, I haven't seen all of them, but this is the best one that I've seen out of them. And that's simply because I think the first 5 to maybe 10 minutes before they start deciding to try to kill each other, that they hit all their big stuff early, and it's all incredibly, incredibly clean. The cleanest I might have ever seen it, from the sunset flip powerbomb from Takahashi to the leaping over the top rope and hurricane running Takahashi to the floor from Lee. All their big stuff was incredibly, incredibly clean, and that's not always the case in Lucha, and that's not always the case in these sort of matches, but boy, it was a thing of beauty to watch at the start, and then it degrades into them just trying to murder each other at the senton that Sean mentioned. Takahashi busting out a destroyer every chance he could get going down the stretch was just killer too, and
the counter one was crazy because it was like, oh my god, he just countered into that from what they were trying to do, and then the second one where he hits it, it's like, good lord, he didn't win with that? What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked he didn't win with that either. But the move that he put him away with is the time bomb, that fireman carry, high angle, pump handle, power slant, or whatever it is. It's incredible, and put the finishing on it. This is a great match, as everybody knew it would be. I don't think anybody thought it was going to be as good as it was. I gave it 4.5. I know Larry over at 411 gave it 4 3/4, but this was insanely good.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You seriously, if you have access to New Japan World, or I guess you can find it by other, the Daily Motions or the whatever. Definitely, you need to go watch this match. I mean, we can do it justice trying to describe everything, but you really just gotta watch this and witness this for yourself, as far as how great it is and what we're saying. Yeah, Meltzer gave it a 4.5. But then this match that we're about to talk about, both Larry and Meltzer gave it 5 stars. A 36-minute. That really does feel like 36 minutes, but because the reason it feels like 36 minutes is because you're so exhausted watching them be exhausted. Like, you feel their pain. You feel them every time that they... Now, I get it. This is the same thing with Omega Okada. People that don't like this whole... where there are moments where if somebody hits a move and they're down, that's present here. But again, if you don't understand what's going on, you're going to see it as, oh, they're just killing time or whatever. That's not what's happening here. They're both just exhausted, and Naito's sitting there going, oh my god, what the hell? This is not keeping him down. And Elgin the same thing. And that's really what this amounts to, is just they are hitting each other with everything. Elgin kicks out of the Destino. Naito kicks out of the Elgin bomb. Elgin tries to hit Burning Hammer a bunch of times. He fails every time. And then Naito finally, after hitting a reverse DDT, hits I think he counters the Burning Hammer into a Destino. And then he hits another Destino, and he finally wins. And just a tremendous match with these two. And Elgin sewing the leg wonderfully as well. Which, we've seen Naito do many times, where he goes after the knee and everything. And Elgin did that really well.
I I can't speak highly enough about this match. It is a true classic. I gave it 5 stars too. The early going is so incredible because Elgin catching Naito from the suicide dive and suplexing him up and then walking to the aisleway to suplex him onto the steel was just absolutely jaw-dropping. Like, Elgin is... maybe people underestimate him just because he's stocky as far as how strong he is, but my God, Naito ain't light.
Yeah. And the powerbomb into the barricade, too. Oh.
I was going down the stretch. They really had me believing that Elgin was going to walk away with this belt, and that, especially after that triple powerbomb thing where he hits it on the floor, picks him back up, throws him into the guardrail, and then I think he hit him on the apron before he started all that too. Like, he killed him. He damn near killed him, and he still couldn't win. And it's just, this was so good, and absolutely worth every second of your time. Maybe. I don't want to say the best Naito match ever, but certainly top 5 because Naito I think has taken so much away from working with Tanahashi, and that they seem to structure matches, and if whether Naito has as much say as Tanahashi does or not, but he works so well with his opponent's strengths and then works in his own game after that. And that's something Tanahashi does so well too, and boy, did it pay off here.
Yeah, I mean, he's had such a string of matches of just great matches lately that it's hard not to already have him in that echelon. Really, it's just it's amazing that everything they did in this too is you had Elgin to freaking do an emerald flosion on the freaking apron.
Ugh.
I mean, good lord, it's just this was. You want to talk about? I mean, yeah, it was move heavy and all that kind of stuff, but you want to talk about people are just killing each other with stuff, and you're amazed that this is still going on. Seriously, I definitely, if there is one thing you need to watch from this show, it is definitely this. Go check this out. You will not regret it. It is amazing. And, another, I don't know how you don't, New Japan might already have another match of the month sewn up already.
Yeah, they might. I don't want to short sell the storytelling in this either, because Naito very quickly goes to the eye he injured on Elgin and continues to go back to it, and that's almost how he wins, too, is raking that eye and really working that. So there's a lot of story elements, too, if you've been following this feud. But, yeah, I don't know if there's anything that's going to beat this match. It was, I don't know about 6 stars, but this was damn good.
Yeah, I mean, and Elgin just, he definitely lived on his promise about he was going to do everything he could to try to break Naito's jaw. Just probably didn't do enough, maybe. But, yeah, broke everything else but that. So, I mean, and then LIJ, once again, gets to end the night with all the titles, or not all of them, but every man having a title, which is still amazing for a stable. And I forgot to mention, but we did have a new challenger for Hiromu's junior title, because Taguchi comes out afterwards and challenges him for the junior title. So we're going to have Taguchi and Hiromu going forward, which is fine, because this goes again with the continuing, like, this little storyline that they have with LIJ based off of the 6-man title feud and everything. So I'm totally okay with that. And we saw Taguchi in the Best of Super Juniors, and I mean, he's even been bringing it in these 6-man title matches. So you put him in a spot where he can shine, he's definitely going to bring it.
Yeah, and it's serious Taguchi too, because he it was a leg lock or an arm bar or something like that, but he wouldn't let go, essentially, and it looked like he left Hiromu in a bad way. So if it's the same Taguchi who we got that incredible match out of nowhere with Will Ospreay in the Best of Super Junior final last year, then we might be in for something real special there again too.
Yeah, for sure. But that's, I mean, where do you want to rate this thing? I mean, he had 4 terrific matches.
Yeah, I mean, the back half of the show is certainly the stronger of the two. And it's typical New Japan in the front part. I don't want to take away from some of that because there is some interesting stuff going on there. But I'm going to go with an 8, I think. The title matches were just awesome. And especially the main events that brought you to the show. Way over-delivered. I think maybe not Lee and Takahashi, but certainly I don't think anybody was expecting 5 stars at Elegant and Naito, and we sure as heck got it. So props to New Japan, and I'm so ready for New Japan Cup. It's not even funny.
Yeah, how they're going to top that with New Japan Cup is going to be amazing, but yeah, I'm going to go with the 8.5 just because I like the Shibata and Ospreay match a little bit more than you did, but yeah, definitely 4 of the 5 title matches really delivered, and there was something worth watching in each one of them. I think you can totally skip the tag title match, but I mean, yeah, this for 4 matches, 3.5 stars or better, you really can't. With 2 of them being, one of them being 5 and one of them being a borderline 5. I mean, you really can't complain about a show like that. That's a tremendous show already. And again, we're talking about being in February. Well, let's see if they can top this going forward. So,
absolutely. Alrighty, guys. Well, let's move on. And you guys did a great job talking some New Japan. More great content. But now we are going to head on over and talk about another promotion. That is TNA Impact Wrestling. And so let's get into this episode. I talked about it earlier. It's a little bit of a doozy, so let's go ahead and do it.
Well, let me see if I can get lucky really quick and find this. Because, yeah, well, whatever. Here, I found it.
TNA Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I decided I wanted to delete that too. So, you know how that goes.
Good times were had by all. I was also about to start making "We're Up All Night" to get lucky jokes, but sadly we cut the music, so probably for the best.
Man, that would be great.
Anyways, Impact opens with a match of all things. Surprisingly, how very different than anything else we see on TV every week, unless you watch Ring of Honor. Moose and Brandy Rhodes team up to take on Rosemary and Crazy Steve. It goes about 5 minutes. It is what it is. Brandy is thankfully kept to the apron for the most part. Although the part she does get in, I think she's shown some improvement from her first forays into the wrestling ring. And obviously, I mean, there's been some time between tapings. So Moose and Brandy do win. Moose pins Steve. It's fine. I don't feel like we'll really
spin Steve. He's like nothing. So
right. I mean, and that's part of the problem here, though, is that none of this really feels super important. Like, this feels almost afterthoughty.
Yeah, and it's sad because Rosemary's great, but again, Knockouts title just not meaning jack and anything in TNA.
I hate to be critical, but I have this match. I just thought to myself, what a piece of crap that was I just watched.
Wow.
That was
I didn't think it was like crap, but...
Oh, it was awful. I'm sorry, okay? So let me get this out of the way first, because this does not reflect on any of the rest of the show, but this reflects on this exactly. Hey, Impact. Cody's not there. Quit sucking on it. Let him. He's doing his own thing over in Ring of Honor, so forget about him. Do things that are not stupid with Brandy. This is so
But they
corny.
signed Brandy, so they...
I know they did. But
yeah.
they are allowing Brandy to tell them, hey, I need to be in some good things here. I know I'm as green as grass. I know I've got probably some referees that could probably outdo me in the ring right now, but I need to look like I'm amazing.
I agree, but this is one of those times, like, seriously, if somebody is watching TNA because Brandy Rhodes might be on it, they need to question their life decisions at this point. So, I'm
not talking about the fans watching it.
I'm serious. Well, I'm just saying, like, if TNA thinks that somebody is watching TNA because Brandy is on it, they've got some issues to think about. So, like, why does she need to be on this show? Let her go train, and when she's actually decent, bring her back in. But again, they don't care about the knockouts right now. Look, the biggest storyline with the knockouts right now is somebody's about to get married. So, I'm just saying, like, I'm making a joke here, but it doesn't really matter when the other storyline going on doesn't really have to do with wrestling either. Mm-hmm. Other than the fact that she was getting trained by the guy that's going to marry the other girl and whatever. Okay.
But it's still better. It's still more entertaining.
Well, it's because you're invested in Allie's character.
Yes,
but, yeah.
we should be. But okay, so nothing bad against Brandy. I'm glad that she's getting the opportunity. It has nothing to do with her personally. I just thought this was so corny to start the show. Them doing the tandem finish, the whole the Moose thing. I mean, come on, just let's play a little more serious.
Moose isn't really that serious though. He always plays around it.
He needs to be if he wants to ever get to where he wants to be. So, but anyway, I'm sorry. I had to say that. It bugged me. I didn't like that. So.
Doesn't bother me. I mean, we're here to give opinions. I hear.
We're supposed to criticize.
It's just my dissertation can be longer, and I'll do that later. So.
I mean, apparently, good thing I didn't do Raw with you guys because I would have gone on a tangent about Bayley winning the title. But so it's fine.
Yeah. Moose and Brandy celebrate backstage later, and says Moose tells her that he'll always have her back. So there's that. Most of this show is dedicated to the Braxton Sutter, Allie, Miracle Mike Bennett, Maria fiasco, and that we have both Braxton Sutter's bachelor party and Laurel Van Ness's bachelorette party. And we go usually back and forth throughout most of the show. The Braxton Sutter's party is really just Bennett's party, and I felt it was the much less entertaining half of this because the mean girls being mean to Allie never ceases to be entertaining to me. And Maria also lets Lauren know that next week is when they're getting married. So Allie just has this absolute, like, the biggest sad doe eyes I've ever seen in my life after all that. But what do you guys think about these parade of segments? Because really it's there's a whole ton of them.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead, Sean. I'll let you go.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So I mean, I think Paul, you just kind of hit it on the head there. The fact that when you have Allie involved with Maria and of course Vanessa and all that, it comes off really good, and it's funny because it's the whole. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the name of the character in Peanuts. Is it Sally, who used to always pick on Charlie Brown? I just this way I felt all the time. Maria is always on Allie's case, and it's the same thing, but yet it stays entertaining. We still want to come back for more. It's weird. It's the same exact thing, but we still care. Whereas this whole Bennett and Braxton Sutter thing, it's okay. They try to be funny, like to have a guy like killed on the couch, and they try to do the whole thing. But that bachelor party, I am sorry, the way it was coming off at first, it looked like a bad Christian movie. Because I've seen plenty of bad Christian movies where they portray, smoking and drinking and doing drugs, and that's exactly how it looks on bad Christian movies. The best thing about this whole thing was the last, I think 10 seconds of the last segment that they had with the bachelor party, where he was putting the girl in the lap and making Bennett look like he was getting, you know. That was the best thing a part of it, because I can't wait to see Maria's reaction to looking like, you know, Bennett's getting a little bit of something.
Yeah. Yeah, this was, you know, I think it continues the storyline well. It's more of what you've been seeing them do, so I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's continuing to build the character and everything else, and next week is going to be the big, how are we going to keep Laurel from marrying, you know, whatever.
Braxton, yeah.
Yeah, Braxton.
Yeah, I'm with Gary on the Bachelor front. I mean, they took up so much time of you showing you just how miserable the Bachelor party is, and it's not particularly entertaining. I think Larry said it best that he commiserates with Braxton because he looks miserable in that last segment because he had to watch all of that. So, the last 10 seconds is really all you need. Braxton catches a picture after he puts the stripper in place on Mike Bennett to make it look like they were doing it, essentially. And Maria smashes a cupcake also into Allie's face later on, and I think she got the way raw of the deal and all and all that. But Brooke also goes one-on-one with Sienna as she continues to be a sort of background feature in this. And she ends up beating Sienna. The match is actually okay. Almost, I would say, pretty good. Brooke ends up getting out of the AK-47 and gets the roll-up after the Maria distraction goes awry. And, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and this is kind of interesting because, you know, Brooke comes back, you know, and she is supposed to be, you know, a star back in place, right? And that's what they kind of made her here. Because no matter what Sienna did, you know, Sienna fought hard and so did Brooke. But at the end of this whole thing, no matter how many times Maria gets involved, Brooke finds a way to get the W. So I think that's good for her. If people, you know, want to get behind her, this is a good way to showcase her. Is it really important? Not really. Especially since this Knockouts division has not been important in a while now. But, you know, if you have any interest at all, this does make Brooke look good. Yeah.
Yep. I mean,
cool.
I don't know if there's really a whole lot to say.
There's really not. Let's be honest. It's really not a lot.
Well, we'll get through the rest of the riffraff here before we get to the bigger stuff on this show. Eddie Kingston goes one-on-one with Jesse Goddard. Jesse wins, and criminally, I might add, because I'm a Kingston fan than how he actually wins. He wins with a springboard forearm. Two guys here that I don't think TNA really knows what to do with yet. Jesse seems just sort of middling around, and Eddie is in the DCC, and that's sort of just been left to the wind, it seems, as they sort of exist.
Yeah, exist is exactly what they're doing in this. It's a sad one. It's a sad, sad existence. I feel bad for Kingston because I think he deserves more than that. But maybe they have other plans. And this whole thing with Jesse, I mean, we've seen this before, right? Where, you know, he picks up victories that you really didn't expect him to pick up. And then, you know, he's on an echelon. And then he's not right back down later on. So, you know, here he is, and he's doing his thing, and I'm sure later on down the line the Kinks don't get it back or something will happen. But, you know, it's just kind of I guess, a building point for both those guys for whatever direction they're going. But it's a very cloudy view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, okay, well, we're having a match. The thing is that they just don't. I don't know if they know what to do with either of these guys. Like, Jesse is just, well, they wanted to push him at one point, but then they stopped, and, you know, everybody in the DCC, I guess, just loses. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really all there is at this point. Tyrus hosts the Facts of Life. Essentially, he gets into a big argument with Eli Drake here, who Eli is all sorts of pissed at Tyrus for making matches without clearing it with him, and that's why he left Tyrus alone to get beat last week. And now he lets him know that he pays him to watch his back and be his bodyguard and all this stuff. And essentially, Tyrus has enough by the end of this, grabs him by the throat, and announces that they're going to have a match next week. And this is more of me not caring, I think.
Hey, you know what? Let's be honest. How easy is it to not care when Tyrus is involved? But I mean, I feel
it's
bad
sad
for saying
because you do
that.
care about Eli Drake.
I do, and I really feel, like Eli Drake has somewhere that he can be going, but right now it's in limbo. We don't know what direction he's going.
But Eli Drake really looks like a dummy. Yeah, for even trusting Tyrus.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
I
he's the
make
one.
That bad joke. But.
I know, right? But if it's him turning, on Tyrus and telling Tyrus, you made bad decisions for me. I paid you to make the good decisions. Blah 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 blah. I think they're just trying to get Tyrus involved in something, and not only that, you've got to have Eli Drake involved in something himself, and they're doing what they can. I'm just ready for it to be over, and it just started. That's bad. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the best part of Impact every week, and that's the Hardy Boys. They have teleported to Mexico to face the Tag Team Champions of Mexico. They face off against Super Crazy and Psychosis. Before we get there, though, they meet with Conan, let him know that they don't even want to be paid. They're just here to win the belts. So that they have the match. Vanguard 1 is ordered to plan an escape route so they can avoid a riot when they win, because apparently they have heat in Mexico for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter. The match is clipped. The referee is blurred out because it's Marty Elias, and he has a contract with Lucha Underground, so let the jokes rain from there. And they do end up winning, and then afterwards they get teleported to the Dome of Deletion. Matt gets another premonition, and next week they head to their next destination, which is CWF Mid-Atlantic in the Carolinas. I'm enjoying this, guys.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of fun. I love the Hardys, of course. I mean, there are a lot of giggles and jokes, and then of course some serious moments, and everything about it though is fun. And this is a dynamic that's added to Impact every week that is special, because it's not just about the in-ring stuff. It's about the journey. It's about the magical moments that they have, and not only that, it's this fun thing that we have not really seen in promotions, and that's, hey, we're going to highlight other promotions besides our own. Wow, never thought of that, huh?
Well, and if TNA wasn't in desperation mode, would they be doing this?
Probably not. Yeah, but it doesn't take away from it being awesome. I mean,
no. I'm just saying, like, I think to try to ask another promotion to do that when you don't have the need to is a different deal than TNA. Obviously has the need to, and this is working for them because of the way they're doing it, right? Like they're really making the Hardy Boys look like a big deal. And this is good. Like, this is good for them. Like you said, the thing we don't see really is not just that. It's hey, we have champions. We're going to go face your champions and have our titles. So, like all that. Like, that's what's cool about it, is we're actually seeing this stuff. It's not like, oh, well, they went down to Mexico, had a match. You won't get to see it, but they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And it's not just, internationally. I mean, nationally, like I said, I think before on this show, the independent scenes have really picked up on this too. They hold 6 tag team titles currently right now. Wow. So I'm waiting for the day when we get the Ultimo Dragon picture of just them covered in all the belts.
Yeah. I want to see that too. And we keep hearing the the Golden Egyptian, Broken Matt Hardy.
Yes.
Yeah. But, I think, like I said, this was a lot of fun to watch. It was exciting. You got a chance to see them win these belts, and you got the Conan parts of this show, which were a lot of fun. I miss Conan from my WCW fandom, and of course, even on Lucha Underground. So that was really cool. I love him panicking because the Hardys got away with the belts. He's like, oh no, they could take him and lose him in like Canada or something. So that was fun. It was enjoyable, and I like also the kind of the thing. He goes, sell as much ripped off Hardy's merchandise as possible.
Yeah.
So it's good. Overall, this is just a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. Heck, you even get little jokes here and there with Vanguard 1. So.
Yeah, he's picking up tail at ringside during the match, which is pretty impressive. Yeah. Lashley gets a promo saying, talking about the usual Lashley thing. He's great. Nobody can beat him, blah, blah, blah. Josh Barnett comes out, who you might recognize most recently as the announcer over on the New Japan TV on Access. But, of course, he's also a former MMA fighter, and he has wrestled before in New Japan way, way back in 2003 and some other places around there. And he kind of comes out and cuts a promo that I don't know if I would even call bad, but very much going nowhere very quickly because I don't feel like his motivation makes any sense for showing up. Lashley does a lot of talking, and he talks about his career and whatever, but like it never really goes anywhere other than we know they're going to have a match because that's what happens when you have one of these things. And Barnett challenges him at the end, which might have been the clearest thing that he said, but I don't know. I am not looking forward to this at all.
I'm not either, and this is just one of those things, man. TNA getting too hyped up sometimes, and you really need to sit there and think about who you bring in and that kind of stuff. Like don't get too crazy with, oh my god, anybody that has a name, let's do this. Just I get what they're trying to do here. Like at some point, Lashley is, I'd imagine Lashley gets a win so he can say he got a win over an MMA legend or whatever they're going to call him. And that's a big thing for Lashley, right? To make him seem even more legit than he already is. And I think at the end of if that's what you're doing here, then I think that accomplishes the goal. Because, how much more can you really do for Lashley to make him seem more legit or that, to try to get any kind of other type of audience to really pay attention for what Lashley's doing than doing something like this? I just don't know. Because, he's run through everybody in TNA.
Yeah, this is just one of those where I kind of saw Barnett come down to ringside, and I thought to myself, okay, what's this about? Why is he here? And then I just had these bad flashbacks of what TNA was doing with the former UFC or MMA fighters just in general. And that bothered me, and I was scared and still am now. I just don't think this has enough substance to really give you, credence to really care. Bobby Lashley, yes, he's involved in MMA, but really, when he's at TNA, he's not mentioning that a lot. We're not hearing about that all the time. And so different credential type guy coming in to face him for the, Impact Heavyweight Championship. I think that, there's a possibility that they surprise us, but for the most part, I have no excitement for this at all. So
all I can say is keep that fear, Gary, because I have a feeling this is going to go downward quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do as well.
Yeah, this is down as that stripper went on Bennett,
Oh, man. Woo.
Oh, that works on so many
how
levels.
Maria felt.
Yeah. We'll find out next week on on this show, right? On Impact.
So let's talk about Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards here. This is the last thing we really have to talk about. And it's a big deal because this is something they're actually doing right by, I feel. Eddie comes out earlier in the night, calls Richards out for a fight. Davey finally gets a chance to sort of explain his side of things here, saying that when he got hurt, Eddie never visited, he never called him, he never texted him, he never did any of that, whatever. And they do a really good job of making it seem like Davey is sort of being manipulated by Angelina Love, his wife, who is out here with him, and seemingly has planted the seeds of jealousy in his mind and all this. And Richards is claiming he's going to destroy what he created and all this stuff, and going to show Eddie that he's really not that good. And they get in a big fight, and security sort of breaks them up, and we're going to have a street fight later on, which is the main event of this show. It goes for about 15 minutes. It's as great as you think it's going to be. Like, they're really just in full brawl mode and throwing chairs at each other and all sorts of great stuff. The ending is what really sells it, though, because Angelina brings Eddie Edwards' wife into the ring, Alexis Nevaeh, and makes her watch as Davey just puts a huge beating on Eddie. Even goes for the concerto, and they have a no finish here because Angelina Losbo's the referee, and he rolls out of the ring and she counts the 3. I really enjoyed all of this. I thought this was great.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great way to really get quickly to this feud and really get it heated up, right? Because we saw last week the way it kind of left off, and you wanted to see it, and guess what? Right after you get it. I mean, so that's really cool. I'm glad they kind of put that into place, and it's going to continue on. I mean, the way that this is working out for Eddie Edwards and his wife is not good. Mm-hmm. And seemingly, you figured at one point they'd get the upper hand, but they just couldn't do it, especially with Angelina Love getting involved in every single thing and everything that happens here. So I think that it's something that we can continue to hold on to and be excited about seeing what they will do next. I think it's a good deal. I just want to mention, though, at least one thing for sure, that I'm not getting paid full time to be a producer on this show. I'm not getting paid full time to be a part of their media staff. But I want to say this. Hey, camera people, don't do an up her nose shot when you're talking or you're showing Angelina Love. My God, I thought I could see up all of her nose. Her nose looked like it was like, oh my God. Just a bad angle, people. Give her a better shot than that. Don't do that.
TNA, the king of bad angles.
I mean,
she don't exactly have a small nose, Gary. Maybe it's hard.
No, I know she doesn't have a small nose, but it made it worse. I mean, and the only reason I know this is because my wife does photography, and she's taught me a few things about that. And now I see it. Now, since she showed me this, now I see it even worse. And that big nose became bigger because of that angle. So that's never good. And then the Canadian coming out. I love the fact that now I can hear her Canadian accent even more. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you want something even funnier? Glacier is coming back to the ring in Orlando on March 30th.
What a great day to be alive, guys. Oh, my God.
I can't wait to hear that entrance music. Oh, boy.
God. Oh, Glacier.
Oh, that's going to be so exciting.
The humans of Zero terribleness.
We will not speak poorly of Glacier on this show, guys. I've said this many times.
Oh, yes. We shall not. Oh, boy. So,
but that's your impact for the week, though. Let's hope next week's better.
Yeah.
Please.
For sure. God, yeah. If it's not. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, so that means we only have one last thing to do. And of course, is Crown Superstar of the Week. So we're going to right back and do that right after this, guys.
Hold on. Damn it. Stupid studio, I'm going to have you. Like,
we're going to have to send that letter, that nasty letter to Spreaker.
this ain't right, man. What's wrong with you people? Like, just...
Nope,
Spreaker,
not at all.
we pay for you, and you treat us this way. How dare you? How dare
they? Well, it's... Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and do these. Don't have
and
to
I
have
can't
the
find it right now, so I'm sorry.
It's no problem. We're just going to roll with it and move on from here. And, not only that, we do have our first point going to a controversial decision here. So, officially, our first point will be going to Bailey. But Sean has something to say about that.
Oh, I mean, the match was great. I have a problem with it because I hate giving points to terrible booking decisions, but, WWE, they like to give away title wins on Raw so that, I don't get it. Like, Bayley had the great opportunity of being the one that breaks Charlotte's pay-per-view streak at WrestleMania and really letting the fans that will actually embrace her, the smart fans at WrestleMania, cheer for her and have her feel like she really deserves that position. But instead, we give the title win away on Raw, and I just hope that Charlotte doesn't just win it back at Fastlane, because then it will really make it feel like it means nothing.
I'm with you on the booking thing, and Bayley, I think her match was really good on Raw, and I don't want to take away from that too, and it is her first title win. But I feel like at times they're really gunning to make Charlotte a 16-time women's champion like her dad.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh. Yeah. That's my biggest knock against, the fact that they keep taking the title from Charlotte because she's going to get it back. But, this is more about match quality for me than it really is about the image of everything. And I think this I just felt it was better. Naomi nor Alexa Bliss really had that great of a match on the Elimination Chamber. So, we got 2 points heading over Shibata's way. What do you think, Sean?
Oh, sorry. We kind of went out of order, so I don't know if we were going to keep going out of order or not. Yeah, I mean, Shibata had a great match with Will Ospreay. We talked about it on the show. Just terrific action. Shibata's beating the crap out of Ospreay. Ospreay returned the favor a little bit, but Shibata's just more man.
3 points are headed over to Takahashi's way.
Yeah, Hiromu Takahashi and Dragon Lee had an absolutely stellar main event quality match, even though it was the semi-main. But good lord, I mean, the fact that they're still walking is really probably props to how great a performance they put in, because they absolutely did try to kill each other. And Takahashi just happened to walk away with the belt. He's got Taguchi next, and we'll see what happens there.
4 points are going to my boy Naito.
Yeah, your boy Naito had what could possibly be the match of the month already with Michael Elgin. The tremendous stuff. Look, they went out there and did everything they could to win. Naito ends up defending his title, but good God, they just beat the hell out of each other.
And we got 5 points in the Superstar of the Week going to Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, so Bray wins the championship at Elimination Chamber on Sunday. He defends it on SmackDown in an incredible triple threat, and we have the tough task of deciding whether a 4.5 and a 4 match best of 5, and we just went with Bray. And I mean, boy, the guy deserves the title run. He deserves the 5 points. He deserves as many high fives as he can get because the dude is awesome. And SmackDown just made their whole entire situation so much more interesting this week. So, congratulations to Bray Wyatt. 5 points, world champion, well deserved.
Exactly. So that is awesome. Congratulations to Bray Wyatt on such a big feat. So we are so happy for him. But yeah, I mean, that is our superstar of the week. Now, guys, we are pretty much done here. We want to thank everybody who's came and checked out the show tonight. And we've had a great one, a lot of fun we've had, and a lot of great topics to talk about. Of course, don't forget, next week we'll be having episode 235, and that'll be part 1 and part 2, and that'll be exciting. Of course, if you want to go check out any of the review shows we do Raw, SmackDown Live, 205 Live, and of course NXT. You can check those all out, and of course our episodes on the W2M network. If you go look up that, subscribe wherever iTunes or whatever you use to find podcasts. Also, W2Mnet.com is a big place you can find a lot of podcasts, along with a lot of great written reviews and other written content when it comes to the world of wrestling. So you don't want to miss a minute of it. Go check that out now if you haven't already. And also, hey, if we always talk about the W2M network, but if you want to go subscribe to us, just our show, and of course get those reviews that we do, just go search out Wrestling to the Max. You can go subscribe to that channel, and then I'll give you all our content. If you just don't want a bunch of other podcasts cluttering up your feed, but the W2M network's great. That's why we always promote it. Trust me, lots of great content there. So besides that, Sean, anything else people need to know about this week?
Well, we're supposed to do the football podcast here in a little bit, barring anything crazy, and then video games podcast should be tomorrow, trying to make sure that stays on a regular schedule, especially with now looks like somebody got the Nintendo Switch early and they are posting pictures about it. Of course, there's no games for them to play, so really doesn't really mean a whole lot right now. But there's also, of course, the Soccer to the Max show that's on Sundays. We'll be doing our MLS Part 2 season preview, talking about more teams and then whatever else is going on in the American, CONCACAF soccer world. And just, the Wrestling and Rap guys will be back to doing their normal thing of reviewing an actual show this weekend as well on Sunday. And, of course, you got the Running Wild podcast and then everything else, that's a part of the W2 Network. So check that out. And, of course, your video game reviews continue to pop up there on the website, and just, more things going on.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, lots of great content for everybody to check out. Don't miss a minute of it. And wait, hold on. What's that? Is that? Oh God, Glacier's here. We got to get out of the show.
No.
I love that music. Come on, what if Glacier just showed up on the show one day? He's like, I'm here, guys. Enjoy.
I would be scared.
I would mark out. No doubt.
Well, we'll see if that ever happens. But anyway, well, we're getting out of here, guys. We hope you've had a great time. We will catch you guys next week. Until then, if you're not living life to the max.
Not living life at all.
You know it.
Please.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.